In an ocean with boiling water, a microorganism that could adapt to high temperatures was born, thermophilic bacteria. Although it is just a tiny bacterium, it could also be considered a creature, meaning this small planet, which was less than a kilometer long, gave birth to the first life. To become a real planet, this represented the successful awakening of the planet. Sebastian became a planet master. Seeing this tiny thermophilic bacterium, Sebastian heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, Sebastian noticed that the panel in his mind had also changed. Planet name, none. Planet level, 1. The newly born planet is extremely fragile and unstable. If one is careless, it would disappear like a meteor. Planet diameter, 0.9 kilometers. The size of the planet depends on the life force of the planet. The stronger the life force, the larger the planet. Planet species, 1. Deduction route, none. The diameter of the planet increase. Sebastian raised his eyebrows. It is not too strange, as the size of a planet completely depends on the life of the planet. The so-called life depended on the following three aspects. Life level of the planet. For example, humans were considered high-level life forms, so they provided more life than a lion. A lion's health level was higher than grasses. Naturally, the life force provided was even more, and so on. As for the lowest level of life, like thermophilic bacteria, their life force is pitifully low. About the life on the planet. The more life, the stronger the life force of the planet. The more diverse the planet, the higher its life force. Now, Sebastian only had one life on this planet, and it is also the lowest grade microorganism. Naturally, there wasn't much life force. A planet over a kilometer in diameter, if it is outside, could be said that it was the lowest existence. But Sebastian was not in a hurry, as the evolution of this planet had just begun. The birth of thermophilic bacteria was only the first step. There would be more and more life after that. I'll name the planet Terra. Sebastian looked at the planet and found a familiar scene. The surface of the planet is no longer earthy yellow. Instead, most of the area is covered by the ocean, so it is slightly blue. Sebastian checked and soon discovered that there was still a quarter of origin energy left. Origin energy is very expensive outside. Ordinary families cannot afford it. Only when awakened, only the authorities provide one for free. Sebastian did not want to waste it, so he continued to consume the remaining energy to speed up the evolution of Blue Star. As the owner of this planet, Sebastian could sense all the changes happening on the planet. Inside the warm ocean, the number of thermophilic bacteria slowly increased. As time passed, other microorganisms began to appear. The first ones were the same as thermophilic bacteria, the lowest grade prokaryote. Time continued to pass. Prokaryotes evolved into protozoa. It was still the most primitive, simplest, and lowest creature. However, its structure and functions had changed a lot. A protozoan called cyanophyta evolved a characteristic that allowed photosynthesis. This kind of algae had strong adaptability, as it could endure high temperatures, freezing, lack of oxygen, dryness, high salinity, strong radiation, and other harsh environments. As algae and some bacteria continued to photosynthesize, they created a large amount of oxygen. For the birth of a higher-level life, it provided sufficient conditions. At the same time, in the ocean, there were some eukaryotic creatures with real nuclei, such as primitive sponges and jellyfish-like creatures. This also represented the birth of animals and plants. Animals and plants were higher-level creatures, so they could bring extraordinary life force to the planet. Due to the increase in the life force, the planet is also gradually growing bigger. At this point, 300 million years had passed since the birth of the planet. Other than the evolution of life, there were also huge changes on the surface of the planet. There was more and more water, so the oxygen content slowly increased. The land gradually disappeared, as almost all of them were submerged by the ocean. All creatures were born in the ocean. Due to the good environment Sebastian had set up, the development of the species was much faster than Earth in his previous life. At this stage, Sebastian had no choice but to stop because origin energy had been completely exhausted. Sebastian could only stop the acceleration of the planet. The size of the planet had also taken shape. From the very beginning, it was less than a kilometer. Now, it had grown to its current size. In his mind, the panel data was shown. Planet name Terra, level 1. Planet diameter, 35.2 kilometers. Planet species 215 does not include microorganisms and other lower life forms. There is no further notification. Deduction route. Even though they are all normal life forms, there are many different types and numbers, so they provide a lot of life force. The size of the entire planet had skyrocketed to a shocking level. Those extraordinary stars outside, despite their high level, the quantity and variety are far inferior. To the newly awakened extraordinary planet, to be able to have 5 or 6 species, one could be considered a genius. Use quantity to supplement quality. This was Sebastian's strategy. At the same time, the awakening of the others outside was also coming to an end.